Akwa Ibom State Governor, Pastor Umo Eno, over the weekend dissolved his cabinet. And he's inherited cabinet from his political godfather that has served with him for about 19 months.
20 months.
20 months, okay. Dissolve that cabinet. Now, I like one particular word where he said good night and good morning all at the same time. Is that to say that some of them may be returning? But let's first of all deal with dissolving that cabinet. How will you rate the performance of these commissioners under the Mono-led administration? And maybe you can look into what they had done well when they served the former administration of Udom Emmanuel.
Well, it will appear that I'm very uncharitable with my marks. Very abysmal performance, because the cups of Gary are actually going down against 1,000 naira. And that's my major evaluation of the economy and performance. But the governor may have meant well. The team was not his team. It was a borrowed team. And the team he worked with, which was not his own, may not have been fully loyal and committed to carrying on with what the governor wanted to do. The governor has a different background from the former governor. And his background is that he owned business. He did not work for a large company as at the time he became governor. For you to work for a large company, you still have the mentality of a salary earner. And salaries don't make people leaders. Salary earners, I regret to say, are not leaders. They are very dependent fellows who depend on another person who is leading with his vision. So you can only say yes and get your salary at the end of the month. I am talking of the former governor. He was a yes man that got salaries and monies from return from investment at the end of the month. But this is one man who had direct interface with the real people in society. And then he will know what it means for a staff to have headache. He knows what it means for a staff to be hungry. So he should know better in administration. But the team he inherited didn't have that same vision with him. The team inherited, apart from someone like the Commissioner for Information, who, despite all odds, whether money or no money, was able to deliver and perform. No commissioner was able to bring monies into the state.
We are looking at culture and tourism. Charles Udom, who did quite it.
What culture? What culture did he promote?
I mean, 2 years
what
on.
What tourism did they promote?
2 years on.
How much? No, let us look at it. How much money did the Commissioner for Culture and Tourism get? And how much money was he able to generate beyond what he got? That's how I see it. There was a time that the Executive Council of Cross River State brought 13%. They opened the windows of investment. They were able to get monies amounting to 30% of the GDP of Cross River State. And that actually helped in pushing forestry, in pushing agriculture, in pushing tourism, in pushing a whole lot of things. There were jobs created in Cross River. In fact, beyond the people of Cross River, most of the persons working there were Akwa Ibom people. And persons from other states, Ebonyi, for instance. Those were the people who were working there. People from Rivers, people from elsewhere. But when you come into government and your ministry receives, let's say, 10 billion naira in the state budget, how much are you bringing in beyond 10 billion naira? That's how I see it. I'm a civil society person. In civil society, we are trained to know that we add value. You just don't come collect the money, spend it, or save the money. I don't know when they say they save money. Are you not supposed to use the money to drive the process of bringing welfare and security to the people or improving the lives of the people? And when you don't do this, you have failed. So that's why I would say that the last cabinet failed, because the last cabinet, apart from somebody, I may be prejudiced, I may be biased, I stand to be corrected, but I am saying that aside from Inyememebo, no other ministry did well. Now, that one is about 0.1% that they got. I can't say. Ministry of Agriculture was the weakest point in the chain. And if they do the mistake of repeating that person, that means the governor has chosen to fail. So the ministries didn't do well. They didn't do well. despite the fact that it was like the governor was overdriving them, forcing them. The governor knows what he wants, but the team was not his team. Let the governor pick his team 100%, not retaining 10 persons from the old cabinet, retaining 5. But if he retains one, it is wrong. Let him, he has thanked them, let them go. Let them go and contribute to Akwa Ibom. But the governor's fear would be this might become political disasters for him. They might become saboteurs because they know so much about the economy and the budget, the expenditure, and the governor's secret. So they may want to sabotage the governor. The governor should not be afraid of them. He should not be scared. He should tell them thank you. He has settled them. For 20 months, they were receiving extra packs beyond their salaries. They were receiving so much, and they were making so much. But anytime you make money, if it brings the kind of people we are looking at, who know their onions, who knows what it means to be a team player in a cabinet, who would want to very well increase the political patronage of the people, not a select set of people, who are not cultists. The governor should not be happy working with cultists or occultists, because these are people that don't have your interest. Their interest is in protecting the tenets of their cult groups, the tenets of their occult group, and if he doesn't bring cultists and occultists, I assure him the government will move forward. That's what Akwa Ibom people expect. We don't want him to bring people who are tainted. You don't bring leprous people. Any leprous person you bring into the community, the clothes, the colony, will infect the whole people with leprosy. So every cultist, every occultist is a leprous person. So remove them, thank them, say to them, give them contracts. We don't care, but let them perform. Allow the people you work with. You are pastor. Governor Umo Eno is a pastor. Let him live the life of a pastor. He's a shepherd. If he goes about with the wrong flock and the flock infests him, very terrible. Every flock has a problem. Sheep have problems with flies. Until the shepherd pours oil on the head of the sheep will infect him with disease.
Well, let's talk more about the projections. You've mentioned round pegs in round holes and square pegs in square holes.
We can't even have that. You can't have that. You can find somebody ready to pick a baby as commissioner for works, and he will do very well.
Okay.
But that round, holes in round, it can also be in
It's
terms
a very
of
useless English which does not apply with us.
But it can also cover for performance, just as you said. If it be people, how do I? Because that was the question I was going to ask. Now that the governor has said, for instance, he said, as he looked to dissolve the cabinet, people started making calls to him. Oh, we recommend.
Why wouldn't they make calls to him? Is he not the governor?
Said, if at all he was going to consider you and someone calls on your behalf, that automatically takes you out of the radar. That's something he said.
Very fine thing indeed.
So, what other detail would you hope that the governor, uses? What grounds? Would you rather?
Will the governor listen to us? In civil society, we have written to the governor. We have sent him texts. We have tried to communicate with him. The governor has chosen not to talk to us in civil society. I think civil society may have to look for somebody who will replace the governor so that he can listen to them. But if he chooses to listen to us, we'll work with him.
All right, let's calm down.
I'm sorry if I'm shocking you, if I'm throwing the cat, shaking tables, but that's the truth. You don't want to see us. We'll look for somebody who can see us and talk to us to make society better. That's what I think we'll put him on notice from next month.
No, but in that sense, I understand. So if I take you,
we are not even lobbying. We are not lobbying for anything.
That would mean that civil society might have been able to spotlight certain areas where the governor and certain indices for which he should.
Will the governor listen? Will he listen? I am tired of giving the governor advice, free advice. If the governor needs to improve, he wants information from me on how to improve his government, he should come and pay me, for God's sake. He has the money to pay me. I won't give him any free advice here. Say something else.
Speaking for yourself, or your CSO, and all other
civil society organization will know. We have volunteered information and very useful information in the past, and the governor may not have taken them fully because there are psychopaths and psychophants around him who wouldn't let him listen. The governor is a good man, but for God's sake, let him stop listening to persons who have the spirit of surrogacy, who want to make it look like the government is not working. They should stop listening to them and listen to civil society. Civil society is about the only group that is so large and it spreads to everywhere. Its tentacles are everywhere. The governor should be able to sit down and talk to us.
Okay, now you've raised it.
And if the government is even picking anybody from civil society, it should allow the civil society pick that person and give to him so that they can hold the person responsible and say, we went there on our mandate. You must perform and help the government. In all the ministries, all the departments, we have civil society organizations that can shadow them. So let the governor not sit down and pick one person and say, I love this person is from civil society. He wouldn't have picked somebody from civil society. That would have been patronage, political patronage, which is what we don't want.
Now let's go down to something that's still the words of the governor. You've mentioned the fact that sycophants, which was clearly said about the previous cabinet members. I mean, we've seen instances where the governor will give a directive and 3 months, 6 months down the line, that directive was not followed through. Not because there was no funds or there was no availability of resources, but rather because those people were not able to key into his plan for the Akwa Ibom people. Now we are looking at a new crop of people. If the governor really sits down in his word, the only person who might possibly know those he is going to choose is his wife, who is in heaven, and himself. And no other person is going to be privy to that information until it is presented at the State House, which means we might possibly be looking at fresh hands who would now understand the governor's rights agenda and his plan for the Akwa Ibom people, and thus be able to provide every necessary information, whether it's from the critics or it's from the civil society organization or from the media. Because even in the media space, people who speak truth to government are also under attack by these very few elements within the corridors of power who see these truth tellers as enemies of government and not those who are actually trying to help the government.
Well, you have succinctly described the situation on ground. But the governor has 24, 28 months more to completing his first tenure. The best set of persons that would have helped him to understand his driving principle and philosophies of governance in Akwa Ibom State would have been his team that he picked from the beginning. This other team, yes, they may have mounted, as it were, the philosophy, the principles, but did they believe in it? The governor should have picked believers, people who believed in him from the beginning, to run the administration with him. Now, 28 months. Let me tell you the dynamics of those 28 months. In the next 28 months, where his first tenure will elapse, the governor, by the time we get into 2026, the intensity of politics for 2027 would have heightened. And there will be a lot of distraction. So let us say, safely too, that the governor probably may have 1 year to run with minimal distraction. After 1 year, the other months, succeeding months, will be politics, alignment and realignment. The people he's dropping will have to go and realign because they need interest. They want to protect their interests. Their interests have been identified. So the governor may have an uphill task for in 28 months to sustain loyalty, to sustain focus ahead of 2027. And 2027, the governor may most likely make some mistakes because a lot of persons will come, especially those who are called political godfathers. They will come with demands, and the demands will be in contradistinction with the hopes and aspirations of the governor to provide good governance. So I think it's a booby trap. Right now, we are in a catch-22 situation. I think the governor may have been appraising this situation which has made him to dilly-dally in terms of decision making. So, and the more he dilly-dallies and slows down in decision making, the more things slow down and things will not take off. But I think in 1 year, the governor can bring good focus that will affect virtually everywhere. If he gets every sector, every segment of society, if he's able to get the right people to do the right job. I wouldn't know whether he's been able to get them, but if he has, we'll congratulate him, and we are ready to work with him.
Okay.
But the way things are going, and with the dynamics, and for him to refuse to meet civil society, we cannot say exactly what may happen in 2027. You must get it right from the beginning. It shows your premise so that your conclusion could be right.